What's going on, guys? We are down here in the barn and we finally have all our seals in. We got them in sometime last week, and my buddy was going to bring it back home for me, but it was the week that his wedding was happening that weekend, and I was in the wedding, and most of the people that work at the hydraulic place were in the wedding or going to the wedding, and well, my rods weren't that important. So the weekend is over. It's the next weekend now. We got our seals this last Thursday. Had the day off and I was able to drive up there and get them. So now we are going to get these put together and hopefully get them back in the tractor and everything go real smooth. Take my name tags off of there. So let's bust into our bag of new seals and see what all we have here. Okay, so that's some V-seals there. I know he said he was going to get me some extra ones just because I don't know if I talked about this or not. We'll move the camera real quick here. But these V-seals are super tall on the tops and the bottoms, and the new ones are not that thick. So we have a little bit of making up to do. And that is going to come from these right here. There's a lot more on them, so they're going to be the right size. They're just they're not going to be the same height, so we'll have to stack a little different to fill our gap. So just so you know, I'm not going to be able to throw these together like I've done these a million times, because I haven't, but we will get it figured out. So that's a wiper. Got two wipers. These might be a poly seal for up here in the front too. That's a V-set. He might not have ordered any seals for that. We might just have my O-ring, because I did tell him that I didn't feel like taking it all the way apart. So I think what he got me is these O-ring. This is an O-ring and a backup. Your backup is going to be just real thin, and it sits on the back side of the O-ring. That's why it's called a backup. So the backup can be facing any direction. It just depends on what end of the cylinder it is on, or the rod it's on. So like to explain that, if you're wanting to mess with your own hydraulics if it was down here, okay, your backup is going to be on this side, because the oil is pushing in from this side over here to push said rod up. And when it's on this side, your oil's coming in, and it's coming in through these ports right here, and it's filling up this way, and it's pushing it back down. So your backup goes on this side, just like you can see here. Your O-ring and your backup is on the back side. And if it was on the other side, it would be on this side. So that looks like the seals that we have there. So we will pop the O-ring and the backup out of that, and we will rebuild our piston. And then hopefully we're going to slide these things back in, top her off with hydraulic oil, and she's going to work like a charm. We're going to find out. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be. I'm just going to keep it going while we hang out and I rebuild these, and we'll see what happens. Keep everything exactly how it is. I'm not going to take this all the way off. I'm going to grab a little pick here, which I didn't buy a set of picks, but we'll find something here that can take this out pretty easy. And we'll do our O-ring and backup first, slide this back up out of the way, and we'll get into our piston. Let me go grab a pick or something like a pick. why didn't I buy picks? They're like $3 at Harbor Freight. Actually, they weren't even $3. They're like $1.99. But I forgot. I know what I mean. Got the old Swiss Army ruler. They actually got me this there at work, but I kept it. Sorry if I wasn't supposed to if you end up watching this, but I did. We call it the Swiss Army ruler. Super thick, super heavy. You can use it to pick stuff out, seals. You can use it as a flathead screwdriver. You can measure up to 6 inches. You can use it to scrape out cylinders. I mean, you can use sliced cheese for a sandwich. It's whatever you want to do with it. These things are a freaking godsend. Dig right up underneath of that seal. O-ring. Old one is off. Go on this back side. The backups are thinner, but they're so much stiffer. They're never as easy to pop off as the O-rings are. So it's nice when you have a little pick with the hook, you can just curl in right behind it, and it comes right off of there. One thing to note, if you're not just watching this video just to entertain yourself, and you're maybe wanting to learn something, these backups have a little bevel to them on one side. You're not going to be able to see it on the camera, but this side of it is flat, and this side of it has a little bevel. You want that bevel facing your O-ring, and that just helps that O-ring seat inside of it just a little bit better. I don't really know if it does much. Well, it does do much, but it's a matter of that's the way it's supposed to be, so that's the way you should do it. So I got the backup in there. Now we are going to roll this O-ring and get it up in there. In there, all the way. Now, it is time to get into our problem child. So, we got the top. This is what I was talking about. You see how tall that is? This V-seal. This is the, I guess you would consider this the top end. It doesn't really matter, top and bottom end. And then there's a bunch of the V-stacks in between. So these are super tall, and they just don't really come that way anymore. And we want our stack with the V facing the back end. I'm just going to take them off and stack them right here, just like so. And now we're going to get into our set that it came with. So, as you can see here, this is one of the top ends, and so is this. And then here's our seals in between. And if we take a look at this, I'll squeeze it down so I can make it match. It's not the same. That don't look good. That's not the same diameter either. I don't think I got the right seals. These look right, and they actually look like the right thing. I wonder if I wasn't even supposed to get these. Just to do it, we're going to pop this off and see what's up here. Maybe. Oh, okay. Okay. So I have a little V-seal up here too. It's not just a poly. it stacks. So when I said that that one looked like a poly, I was right. So these should slide down into here. I'll work them down in there one at a time. V-seals can be very, very frustrating, but the last time that I was messing with V-seals, I had to put them in. So if this was the cylinder, the rod is already inside of it, and then you got to work them down around the rod inside the barrel, and that is a chore because they'll get crooked and they won't lay right. This is pretty easy to slide them down into here because I can see everything. Beautiful. Now I'm probably gonna, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this back on my rod or not. I might have to wait and go out and get some oil because these new seals are gonna be tight. Yeah, I don't want to tear them up. So I'm gonna have to wait. I'm gonna have to get some oil. I'll put some oil in there, and then I believe I have a rubber mallet somewhere because that's what it's gonna take to get it knocked down over this rod. Let's get back to these. So I need them facing this way. Yep, the stack faces the bottom. I'm gonna try to just slide the whole thing over here and we'll see how it fits. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. We're gonna have to do it one at a time. Flip this over where we can just keep pulling off the top and adding it to the stack. Come on, quit rolling. There we go. Now we just have to do that 8 more times. These old cylinders, man, the old cylinders, they loved V-seals. A lot of the newer ones, it's just a couple wear bands and a U-seal or O-ring and a backup with some wear bands, and it's really easy. Really, really easy compared to these things. Does not want to go. There she goes. Alright, well, to keep this video a little bit shorter, we're already at like 14 minutes. I'm going to stop the video here. We're going to get the rest of these seals on, and then we'll be back. We're back real quick. We don't have all our seals done, but I wanted to get my gland back on before I get all my piston seals on. I don't have a rubber mallet, but it doesn't matter because I wouldn't want to hit this thing crooked anyway. Little trick of the trade. This is the biggest socket I have, but it is big enough to work for now. I'm hoping it'll get me far enough to where it won't matter. But this fits over the thread end of the rod, and it's touching, so it's, you know, it's gonna be pretty smooth. But we're gonna give her a few taps and see if this seats. Just like that. I'm gonna do one more just to, maybe I'm not. I'm bottomed out. And on she is. So that's on now. We'll push that all the way down. Get that out of the way. Now we will get back to our piston. If I can even call it a piston. It's weird. It's multiple pieces. But yeah, just wanted to show you seating that. That's a good way to do it without tearing anything up. Fits over the threaded end of the rod. And you're sitting flush against the metal. So it's not like you're, you know, if I was taking the hammer and hitting it directly with the hammer, it's gonna ding it up. It's gonna put a bunch of blemishes in it, and you don't want to tear it up. But with this already sitting against it, the force is hitting the socket, and it's hitting the metal even on this end, and you're not really gonna tear anything up, especially just smacking it a couple times to get it seated. But that's a good way to do it. All right, we got all of our V-seals in. I was a little iffy on if that last V-stack should go on or not. But I still have to tighten this up, and it's really not sticking out too much, like that end piece isn't. So I think when I tighten this down, it might push them together and be seated all the way. Looks like it's going down. Oh, hitting the camera. Let's change the angle here. So I put them all on. I think that's what I wanted to do. I think it's gonna seat good. It definitely squeezed it in some, so it should have sat. I definitely didn't want to short it and it not be enough, because then it's gonna leak. It's a higher chance of it leaking pretty soon. All right, I think this one is done. This is gonna be the hardest part, because as easy as it was for me to seat that gland, I was able to hold it straight up and down and use my socket and all that jazz. But our cylinders are laying down, they're at an angle, and I gotta get them back up. So I am going to attempt it once. I am not going to tear up my seals, so I might have to wait a minute, rebuild the other one. Actually, I'll probably just go ahead and rebuild the second one now, and then that way, if I can't get it by myself, the wife is up there at the patio doing a little weeding in the flower bed, and I can call her down to help me, and she can put one hand underneath the barrel and kind of hold the rod, and I can give it a smack up in there. And if I do need her help, I'd rather have them both ready. So while she's down here, she can just be down here one time, help me do them both, and then go back up there with the kids. So I'm gonna not record doing the second one. There's no sense in doing the same thing twice and making this video twice as long. So we will be back when it's time to put them in the barrels. Very quickly, I seen my threaded end here, which threads into the barrel, still on here, and I had this scare again from when the first time I took these apart, because usually the threads are on the gland, and I was like, no, my gland's not broken. And then I forgot that this is another piece, and that I also got wipers to go on these to replace them. I did go ahead and replace this one, which this one was broke for sure anyway, but I'm most certainly not taking that other rod apart just to put on a wiper. It is nice to have them. It constantly wipes your rod and keeps your rod clean, but I'm not taking it all the way apart just for that. So I will have a spare wiper on my shelf, and now I'm gonna get back to it. Alright, we're going to try to get this on camera. I don't know why, but my GoPro just shut itself off saying it was hot. It's never done that before. Sorry. Grab my hammer. In there. Don't want to go in. Ouch. Don't want to go in too far. Get this in far enough for these threads to bite. I'm going to stop here and come back. Alright, you didn't miss much. I walked up and got a few 2x4s to hold my barrel up. That way it wasn't sitting down and this rod making it kind of bend right here in the middle. I whacked it a couple more times right there like you watched me doing. And now we are threading into the barrel. It's going straight. It's not cross-threaded. It's going in. Now I'm about to lose my 2x4s. Guys, be careful doing this, because there is nothing that will mess up a rod faster than pipe wrenches. I swear. You bounce off one time and these teeth are going to leave a mark on that rod. It will happen. Should be good. These things are not in there too crazy tight, so as long as it doesn't leak. Goes right there. My rod is still facing up the same way, but the only thing that is not right is getting my pin back in. So I'm going to get the other one set up, and then what I'm probably going to do is, once they're all the way set up, then I can test them, making sure they don't leak, and I'll run these rods as far out as I can, and if that gets me there, great, and it should, because I have these stoppers here where my bucket can only go so far, and that's where we took them off. So by pushing the rods out as far as they go, it should line us back up, and if it still needs to come back just a little bit and I can't get them any farther, I'll back the tractor up just a tiny bit, and that should line it up. The only downfall about that is, I can't move it anyway. Once there's oil in there, there's no pushing it back and forth by hand, so it'll be a little bit of a cluster if they don't line up just right, trying to get it back and forth using the hydraulics. But we really don't have another choice, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get this other one in, and then we'll fire it up. All right, guys, we just got done topping this thing off with oil because we obviously lost a lot. Fun fact is, this is my hydraulic tank, and the arm over there, you can see the main hose coming out of the bottom. It runs up, that runs up to the pump up in the front. And I just remembered too that I have my hood and everything off because I was trying to replace my tack, and I did change it. We're gonna slap this thing on there so it isn't quite as loud. I did change it, but it's a little bit deeper. The screws don't tighten up on the top. My tack still doesn't work, and my wiring harness for everything else is pretty much shot. So it was, you could kind of say it was pointless to do, but didn't know until we took it apart and tried. So we tried. We're gonna fire this joker up and see what happens. I think. There she goes. That was pulling back Alright guys, they are down all the way. I'm gonna have to fiddle with it a little bit here to get the pins in, but I will get the pins in. I'm gonna get the hood on, and then we're gonna be back. I don't see any leaks. first time in a long time, the bucket stays wherever you stop it. It doesn't just keep falling off. If I was a great equipment owner, I would have greased those while I was doing that. But like most equipment owners, I don't even have any grease right now. It's terrible. No, jokes aside, I do need to get some grease and grease those. This thing is deprived enough. I don't need to add to the list, but she could definitely use some grease. But the rods are back on. I did dimple my rod a little bit on this one, trying to get that gland seated in there so I could get to them threads. Nothing too terrible. Really wasn't no other way to do it with leaving the barrels on there. And on this side I was kind of offhanded trying to do it. You know, on that side I could stand with my right arm, able to swing good. And this side I was either left-handed or cross-body with my right arm. Dimpled it up a couple times, nothing too terrible. In this situation, there's really nothing I could do about it. It doesn't really matter at this point. When you get dimples in your rods, stuff like that, your rod gets tore up, you gotta take it apart, you gotta polish it. It's a fancy polisher. The rod spins and there's a sander that slides back and forth. It can't stay in one spot too long or it'll take it out. You measure that stuff in thousands. So it doesn't really matter. Unless I wanted to take it all apart, send it in, and pay a lot of money to have my rod refinished. That's my rod, and I'm living with it. So it isn't like this stuff gets used. You know, this tractor isn't getting used every day, all day. You know, it's not rolling over it 1,000 times. So really, I should still get a pretty long life out of these seals, even with them little dimples. The only thing we really do is wait and see. But tractor is put back together. I am going to get this hood back on. I don't know if I ever even posted the video. I don't think I did because it kind of went downhill fast, but I started to replace my dash cluster here. My mom bought this for me for Christmas like 2 years ago, and I had yet to put it on. And the unfortunate news is it doesn't matter. The tack still doesn't work. It's got the new line coming up. So I don't know, I'm assuming that it's in this that needs replaced next. Not really sure. You got to dig into it. So the tack doesn't work, and my wiring harness behind here, all of that is pretty well shot too. So need to run a new wire harness and all that jazz. Yeah, is what it is. So we're gonna get this video wrapped up here, and I'm gonna go play on my tractor for a little bit. So pretty excited about it. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, support our channel. We greatly appreciate it. If you like this video, cool, because I have a lot to do to this tractor and I have a lot to do to my truck. And yeah, we're going to make a video of it and have fun doing it. So yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. So if you're still here watching, really exciting thing. One, I just got my yard straightened back up there. You can see there's no more pile of dirt and tall grass. Just regraded that a little bit as best as that this old thing can do. And while I was out there, how I thought that nothing on this thing worked, well, that was a lie. I was just out of fuel almost, because I ran out. And my daggone fuel gauge works now. We might not know if she's overheating. We might not know what our RPM is, but by golly, we are not gonna run out of gas anymore. I'll take it.